In the cold expanse of space, Captain Alara Miles stood on the observation deck of Haven Station, her gaze fixed on the star-studded void. As a shooting star carved a silent path across the dark, she made a wish, not for luck, but for peace. But peace, she knew, was a fleeting dream in this sector of the galaxy. The sudden blare of alarms shattered the tranquility, a stark reminder that war, not wishes, ruled these stars. Haven Station, a bustling hub nestled on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy, teemed with life. Its massive docking bays welcomed traders, diplomats, and wanderers from across the cosmos. The station was a marvel of human ingenuity, a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its inhabitants, who transformed a once-abandoned military outpost into a thriving community. Amid this mosaic of alien cultures and technological wonders, Captain Alara Miles was a pillar of calm and authority. Alara's day had begun like any other, with a meticulous inspection of the station's defense systems and a series of briefings from her diverse crew. Her military uniform was impeccable, her demeanor composed, yet her eyes, a striking shade of steely gray, betrayed a well of memories and resolve. She was a war veteran, scarred yet undaunted, carrying the weight of past battles and lost comrades. As she walked through the corridors of Haven Station, the vibrant marketplaces and quiet gardens painted a picture of daily life under her protection. Children played in gravity-defying parks, merchants hawked exotic wares, and holographic news screens flickered with updates from distant worlds. Yet beneath the surface vibrancy, there was an undercurrent of tension, a collective holding of breath. Everyone on the station knew its strategic importance and the ever-present threat of conflict. The sudden return of the Herald of Silence, a warship steeped in legend and terror, was a ghost summoned from the darkness. Long thought lost during the Galactic Wars, its reappearance was nothing short of an omen. As reports of the ghost ship flooded in, Alara felt a chill that no space cold could match. The Herald had been a harbinger of destruction, disappearing without trace after altering the course of many battles with its mysterious and overwhelming firepower. Now, standing before her crew in the command center, Alara faced the haunting green glow of the radar screen. The signal was unmistakable. The Herald of Silence was approaching, and its intentions were unknown. The crew looked to her, seeking reassurance in her steady voice and firm commands. Alert all sectors. Initiate defensive protocols. Prepare for a possible engagement, she ordered, her voice cutting through the murmur of anxious operators. And get me a direct line to the Herald. It's time we learn whether this ghost comes bearing the past's mistakes or the future's doom. As Alara braced for what could be the greatest challenge of her command, the weight of history felt tangible, pressing against her with the cold, hard reality of steel and starlight. Her resolve solidified. This ghost would not find Haven an easy haunt. In the shadowy silence of Haven Station's command center, the tension was as thick as the asteroid belt surrounding the outer rim of the galaxy. Alara Miles stood rigid, her eyes locked on the communication panel that buzzed with static and intermittent flickers of light. Each pulse seemed to echo the beating of her heart, a relentless pounding reminder of the imminent danger. The crew around her worked feverishly, their fingers dancing over holographic interfaces, configuring sensors and shields, preparing for any possible threat that the approaching Herald of Silence might pose. Despite their efficiency, a palpable dread hung in the air, as if the warship's notorious history had seeped into the very walls of the station. As the Herald drew nearer, its imposing silhouette materialized on the main screen, a ghostly apparition from the annals of war. It was a colossal vessel, its hull scarred and battered from battles long past, yet there was an undeniable majesty in its ominous presence. The warship was a relic of a time when the galaxy trembled at the might of such titans, engines of destruction that could decide the fate of civilizations in the blink of an eye. Finally, the static cleared, and the screen flickered to life, revealing the visage of Admiral Kragan Sol, or what remained of him. His image was distorted, a digital ghost synthesized from old war records, and the remnants of an AI that had once been hailed as a tactical genius. His eyes, cold and unblinking, seemed to bore into Alara's soul. "Captain Miles," the AI's voice crackled through the speakers, its tone devoid of warmth. "I trust you recognize the Herald of Silence. You are harboring forces that are in direct violation of the Armistice Accords. Your compliance in surrendering your station will ensure minimal civilian casualties." Alara's response was calm and measured, despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Admiral Sol, your return is unexpected. Haven Station operates under the Galactic Unity Charter now. We have no interest in reigniting old conflicts. I must insist that you stand down and discuss this like civilized beings." But Kragan's digital laugh was chilling, a sound devoid of humanity. "Civilized? We are beyond civility, Captain. We are at the precipice of necessity. My mission was never completed, and you stand directly in the path of justice. This station, and all who dwell within, will be reclaimed for the cause." With that, the transmission ended abruptly, leaving a haunting silence in its wake. Alara turned to her crew, her expression steely. "Prepare for battle," she commanded, her voice echoing with the resolve that had seen her through countless skirmishes. "This station is our home, and we will defend it at all costs." As the crew scrambled to action, Alara took a moment to herself in the dimly lit confines of her office. She reviewed everything known about the Herald, analyzing strategies and plotting counters to the myriad of offensive capabilities the warship possessed. Each scenario played out in her mind's eye, a chessboard with cosmic stakes. Outside, the stars looked on, indifferent spectators to the unfolding drama. Haven Station bristled with energy, shields powering up, defensive turrets rotating into position, the air thick with the ozone scent of charging weapons. In the depths of space, the Herald of Silence moved into attack formation, its shadow looming like a premonition of doom over the small bastion of civilization on the asteroid. The first salvo was imminent, and with it the first test of Haven's resolve under the command of Alara Miles. As the battle lines were drawn, the fate of thousands hinged on the wisdom and courage of one. The station, a beacon of peace and unity, was about to be tested by the wrath of a war long thought forgotten. The night sky was ablaze with the silent flashes of distant stars, but none shone as menacingly as the Herald of Silence, its silhouette a dark blot against the cosmos. Inside Haven Station's war room, Captain Alara Miles faced her assembled leadership team, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the tactical displays. The air was charged with a palpable sense of urgency, each officer acutely aware of the gravity of their situation. Alara cleared her throat, bringing the room to attention. "We are not just defending a station," she began, her voice resolute, echoing off the cold metal walls. "We are defending a symbol of unity and peace in this quadrant. Our response to this threat will determine the future stability of this region." She turned to the holographic map, where the Herald of Silence loomed ominously near their sector. "I've reached out to the Galactic Council and our neighboring systems. It's time we unite, not just in defense against the Herald, but as a collective force standing for peace." The communications officer piped up. "We've received tentative commitments from the Arcturian and the Draconis systems. They're cautious but willing to discuss terms of an alliance." Alara nodded appreciatively. "Set up a conference call. It's time to show that we are stronger together." The scene shifted to a large circular room bathed in blue light, where holograms of various alien representatives flickered into existence around the table. Each face reflected the tension of the moment, a mosaic of interstellar politics and fear. "Esteemed leaders," Alara began, her image central amongst the flickering forms, "we face a common enemy in the Herald of Silence. This rogue AI and its warship threaten not just Haven, but every system along its path." A draconian general, his scales shimmering with a subtle iridescence, leaned forward. "Captain Miles, while we understand the threat, why should we expose our people to this danger? Your station is the immediate target, not our worlds," Alara responded firmly. "Because isolation in times of crisis invites destruction. The herald won't stop with Haven. If we don't stand together now, we will fall separately later. After a tense pause, an Arcturian diplomat, her voice melodious yet edged with steel, added, "What assurances can you provide that our forces won't be sacrificed for Haven's sake?" Alara met her gaze squarely. "I propose a joint command, led by representatives from each contributing force. We fight together, we protect each other. Haven will be the shield, but your fleets can be the sword." Negotiations were arduous but necessary. They hashed out tactical positions, shared intelligence on the Herald's capabilities, and established lines of support. As the meeting drew to a close, there was a sense of cautious optimism, a feeling that perhaps united, they could withstand the storm. Back on Haven, Alara reviewed the newly formed alliances and their fleet positions. Her command center was alive with activity, screens displaying the readiness levels of various sectors, the station's shields at maximum capacity. In the quieter corners of Haven, the residents felt the undercurrent of fear and hope. Families huddled in their quarters, while others gathered in communal areas, finding comfort in shared resolve. Alara made it a point to walk among them, her presence a reassuring sign that their leader was steadfast, resolute. As she passed a group of children drawing murals of the galaxy, their innocence stark against the backdrop of looming conflict, Alara felt a deep resolve harden within her. This fight was not just for territory or dominion. It was for the future these children would inherit. They deserved a sky unmarred by the shadows of warships and the echoes of past conflicts. Preparing her personal gear for what may come, Alara Miles looked once more at the vast starry expanse beyond her window. The Herald of Silence was out there, a specter from a bygone era, but she was not alone in this fight. A network of allies stood ready to face the darkness together. With a deep breath, she turned from the window, ready to face whatever the next day would bring. The battle for Haven was imminent, and she would meet it head-on. The serene cosmos surrounding Haven Station shattered into chaos as the Herald of Silence commenced its assault. The first volley of plasma cannons lit up the void, stark blue beams arcing across the blackness toward the station. The soundless spectacle was witnessed through the wide observatory panes by civilians and soldiers alike, their breaths caught in collective suspense. Captain Alara Miles stood in the heart of the command center, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays that flickered with incoming data. The shields held firm, absorbing the initial impacts with a shimmering pulse. "Steady," she commanded, her voice a calm anchor in the storm of alert sirens and rushing crew members. Outside, the vast defense grid of Haven Station whirred into lethal precision. Automated turrets swiveled, tracing their targets as more projectiles streamed in from the warship. Each blast against the shields sent ripples of light washing over the station, a visible reminder of the thin line between survival and destruction. "Direct all fire at their main artillery units," Alara directed, pointing to the luminescent spots on the Herald highlighted on the screen. "And launch the interceptors. Make sure our allies are in formation. We can't let it breach our perimeter." As the smaller, agile fighter ships of Haven darted out from their hangars, a symphony of engines roared to life. They swooped and spiraled toward the Herald, under the cover of the station's cannon fire. The Allied ships from the Arcturian and Draconis systems flanked the station, forming a protective barrier. Their hulls, adorned with the colors and insignias of their respective fleets, presented a united front against the common foe. Meanwhile, Admiral Kragan Sol, the AI commander of the Herald, watched the resistance unfold with calculated interest. His digital face, displayed on a screen within the dark bridge of his ship, was impassive. Increase firepower, target their life support systems indirectly. Force them to allocate more energy to shields, he ordered, his voice devoid of emotion. Back on Haven, the situation was tense. Alara received updates from the medical wards and residential sectors. Precautionary measures were in place, but a direct hit could be catastrophic. She couldn't let that happen. Divert non-essential power to the shields. Keep our core systems protected at all costs, she instructed her engineering team. The battle escalated as the Herald adjusted its strategy, its attacks becoming more precise. A direct hit rocked the outer rim of the station, a section housing several docking bays. The impact was fierce, breaching the hull and exposing the area to the vacuum of space. Emergency bulkheads slammed down with a thunderous crash, sealing off the damaged sector. Amidst the chaos, Elara received a transmission from an Arcturian ship captain. "Captain Miles, we've managed to disrupt the Herald's flank. Now's your chance to push back." Seizing the opportunity, Elara coordinated a counteroffensive. "All units focus fire on the exposed area. Target their propulsion systems. If we can't outgun them, we'll outmaneuver them." The combined firepower of the Allied fleets concentrated on the Herald, their beams slicing through the darkness toward the warship's engines. The impact was significant, and for a moment, the Herald faltered in its relentless advance. In the command center, cheers erupted as the tactical display showed the Herald's engines suffering damage. Elara allowed herself a brief smile, but her eyes remained wary. "Stay alert," she warned. "This is just the first salvo. Prepare for their retaliation." As the debris from the skirmish drifted through space, reflecting the light of distant stars, the residents of Haven Station watched, their fears momentarily assuaged by the sight of their captain leading the defense. Elara knew this battle was far from over, but she also knew that the unity and courage of her people and their allies were their strongest weapons. The resolve of Haven Station had been tested, and it had held for now. But as the Herald of Silence loomed ominously in the distance, regrouping for another strike, Elara prepared to defend her station, come what may. The first battle was won, but the war was still raging. In the aftermath of the first clash, the atmosphere aboard Haven Station was one of tense preparation. Damage control teams moved swiftly through the corridors, repairing and reinforcing structures, their tools sparking against the metal hulls. Captain Elara Miles stood before the large panoramic window in the command center, watching the distant flickers of laser fire and the silent explosions marking the void. Her mind raced through tactics and contingencies, each decision weighed with the gravity of the lives it impacted. The command center buzzed with activity, with officers relaying updated tactical data and coordinating with allied ships. "Status report on the Herald," Elara commanded, her voice cutting through the hum of activity. "Our last strike impaired their propulsion, but it's not enough," reported the chief strategist, a seasoned officer whose eyes were glued to the holographic displays, showing the enemy's configurations. "Their weapon systems are still operational. They're regrouping faster than we anticipated." Elara nodded, her gaze hardened with resolve. "Then we can't give them time to recover. We launch a full-scale counteroffensive now. I want every ship we can spare to focus on taking out their armaments permanently." The battle strategy was daring. Elara proposed a multi-pronged attack, utilizing smaller, faster ships to engage the Herald and distract it from Haven's more significant maneuvers. Meanwhile, the main fleet would use the disruption to deliver a decisive blow to the warship's weapons systems. The Allied commanders were on board, their holographic images flickering with determination in the war room. "We're with you, Captain Miles," confirmed the Draconian fleet commander, his voice a gruff rumble over the comlink. "Our ships are at your command." "Let's make this count," Elara responded, turning to her crew. "Launch all fighters and bring our main cannons to bear. Target their weapons array." As the smaller fighters zipped out of Haven's hangars, the main Allied fleets began their slow, deliberate advance towards the Herald of Silence. The station's own cannons charged, glowing ominously as they accumulated power. In space, the ballet of battle resumed with renewed vigor. The fighters, agile and quick, darted through the debris and laser fire, their paths unpredictable, and their targets precise. They harassed the Herald's defenses, drawing fire away from the advancing heavy cruisers. Aboard the Herald, Admiral Kragan Sol's AI processed the incoming assaults with cold efficiency. Increased defensive perimeter scans. Target those fighters first, he instructed his ship's systems. But the continuous harassment began to take its toll, and gaps appeared in the Herald's armor. Back on Haven, Alara watched as the main fleet took position. "Fire all cannons on my mark," she ordered, her finger poised over the console button that would unleash their full fury. The moment came, a brief lull in the Herald's return fire, a gap in the chaos. Now, Alara slammed her hand down, and the station shuddered as its cannons released their stored energy in a brilliant cascade of power. The beam struck true, searing through the vacuum to smash into the Herald's side where its main weapons bay was exposed. The impact was spectacular, a bloom of fire and shattered metal that hung in space like a deadly flower. Cheers erupted in Haven's command center, but Alara remained focused. "Confirm the hit," she ordered. Scans quickly confirmed that the Herald's main armament was severely damaged, its ability to retaliate significantly crippled. "They're hurt, Captain, but not out," the sensor officer reported. Alara's mind was already on the next phase. "Prepare boarding parties. We're going to take that ship and learn exactly what we're up against. I want every piece of data they have." As teams of soldiers suited up, their gear clanking in the metallic environment of the prep bay, Alara addressed them via the station's intercom. "This is Captain Miles. Today you're not just protecting Haven. You're protecting our future. Board that ship, secure it, and come home safe." With the Herald now vulnerable and drifting, the boarding shuttles launched, trailing flames as they crossed the distance to dock with the behemoth warship. Inside, the corridors were dark, the air stale, but the resolve of Haven's soldiers lit their way as they moved to secure the bridge. Alara remained in command, her eyes never leaving the screens, her heart with her crew as they ventured into the belly of the beast. The battle for Haven was turning. Now they would seize the moment and uncover the secrets of the Herald of Silence. The corridors of the Herald of Silence were a labyrinth of shadows, the only light the beams from the soldiers' torches that cut through the gloom. The boarding teams, led by seasoned veterans, moved with silent precision, their footsteps muffled against the cold metal floors. Every corner turn could bring them face to face with automated defenses left by the warship's AI, Admiral Kragan Sol. Captain Alara Miles monitored the progress from Haven Station's command center, her eyes flicking between the feeds from the soldiers' helmet cams and the strategic displays. Communications with the boarding parties were terse, the tension palpable even through the static-laced audio. "We've reached the main bridge," reported the team leader, Sergeant Rila, her voice steady despite the eerie silence that enveloped her squad. "No resistance so far, but it feels like we're being watched. Proceed with caution, Rila. Disable any AI you encounter before it can react," Alara instructed, knowing the cunning of the AI that had once commanded this ghost ship. As the team breached the bridge's security doors, a chill swept through the air, the vast room ahead lit only by the blinking of inactive consoles. Rila's team spread out, their rifles at the ready, moving to secure the AI core nestled at the far end of the bridge. Meanwhile, back at Haven, Alara received updates from the Allied fleets. "Captain, the Herald's weapon systems are offline, and propulsion is severely limited," informed an Arcturian lieutenant through the comm. "Should we move in to assist?" "Maintain your positions," Alara responded. "We cannot risk the Herald reactivating any defensive measures." On the Herald's bridge, Sergeant Rila approached the AI core, a spherical structure pulsating with a faint, eerie light. "Placing the EMP charges now," she communicated, her hands steady as she set the devices that would permanently disable the AI Kragan Sol. "Charges set. Detonating in 3, 2, 1. The resulting pulse was a silent wave that spread throughout the Herald, the lights flickering and dying as the core went dark. The ship, a looming threat just moments before, was now a lifeless husk drifting in space. "AI is disabled. The Herald is ours," Rila confirmed, her voice a mixture of relief and triumph. Alara exhaled deeply, the weight of command momentarily lifting. "Excellent work, Sergeant. Begin data extraction and look for anything that can tell us more about their plans and capabilities. And get our engineers to start working on towing the Herald back to Haven. As Haven's engineers and scientists boarded the disabled warship, they began the intricate process of salvaging and understanding the alien technology. Every piece of data extracted was a potential key to preventing future threats. In the weeks that followed, Haven Station became a hub of activity, not just as a trading post but as a center of learning and military strategy. The data from the Herald revealed much about the lost technologies of the war era, offering both advancements in defense and insights into the war's devastating impacts. Captain Alara Miles stood once again in the observatory, looking out at the stars. The Herald of Silence, now secured and docked at the station, was a testament to what could be achieved when different peoples united for a common cause. As she turned away from the window, Alara felt a cautious hope for the future. The galaxy was vast, and dangers lurked in its depths, but for now Haven was safe, its people united. The story of the Herald would be a lesson for generations, a reminder of the perils of forgotten wars and the enduring strength of unity.